Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so very much for tuning into the 404 Show. It is Friday, December 18th. My name is Jeff Bacalar. Russ Frushtick to my left.
What is up, Jeff?
Across the table, the one, the only, Mr. Sphere.
The Sphere.
Sphere man here.
Sphere Guttenberg.
It's me.
The elusive, often misunderstood.
Very misunderstood. So misunderstood.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
It's all good.
Yeah, it's all
I'm
good
happy
in the
to
hood.
be here. Yes. In a padded room. You know, it suits me.
It suits you because just in case you decide to
When I
act
bang
up,
my head against the wall, it doesn't hurt as much.
as one does
Yeah.
when faced with the
Life in
holiday
2015.
season. Certainly. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. A lot of stuff to talk about. Russ has a spoiler-free Star Wars review to give us.
Very spoiler-free.
Very spoiler-free, super surface
relieved.
level. But before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the show, I gotta go to like corrections right away.
Okay,
because
this is important.
We effed
really
up
effed
a
up.
little
Effed up.
bit. Well, it wasn't our fault.
All right.
Okay, number one, the going gets tough, the tough get going. Are you familiar with the song by Billy Ocean?
No, I can't say that.
You can't say that you are. Regardless, it is from 1985, not 1989, like I said. And it is not from War of the Roses. It was from a film called The Gem of the Nile.
And you were sort of in that realm because that's the sequel to. Isn't that a sequel to?
You're gonna make more corrections now. People are gonna come and be like, "Oh no, he's wrong about that." No, the jewel. I'm sorry, it's not the jewel. It's the jewel of the Nile.
The jewel.
It's the not the gem. It is the Jewel of the Nile from 1985, an action romance film starring Kathleen Turner,
Right,
Michael
it's
Douglas.
a sequel to *Romancing the Stone*. Is what I was going to say.
Sequel to *Romancing the Stone*.
Is the current Kathleen Turner the same person? Just checking.
This is a valid
I
question.
find that hard to believe.
It is.
I think she's been replaced.
It is a little bizarre.
Very.
Regardless,
So was
people
Danny
age.
DeVito in this movie?
Danny
Yes, he
DeVito
was.
is in the
All
film.
three of them.
Directed by Louis Teague, produced by Michael Douglas, and written by Mark Rosenthal and Lawrence Connor.
And was there a Billy Ocean song in this?
This is the song
That's
for the movie.
So that's what we were saying.
That is what we
that
saw.
made more sense.
That
Oh,
is
man.
what we saw.
Yeah.
When the going gets tough, tough gets going is from the Jewel of the Nile. That was like
Because
the
that happened a
song.
lot those days. Was
Yeah,
like
it
they
was like
put
this
the
song
stars.
is the movie's song. This is
Right.
the
Oh,
official
man.
theme song.
It's like Goldfinger.
Exactly.
Exactly. So we can gracefully move on
Sorry.
beyond
That's
that.
good. I feel lighter.
Also, in the realm
What
of
else did we screw
corrections, we screwed up. Well,
There's more.
everyone fell for this.
Yes.
The whole Wu-Tang Clan Bill Murray
Oh, wow.
clause in that quote unquote
That
contract
the Wu-Tang
that
Clan
the
could
human
steal
piece
back.
of right. The whole he could steal. You heard about this?
No, but
You're
tell
just
me.
nodding.
Whatever.
The whole, the guy, the terrible pharmaceutical CEO guy, Martin Shkreli, he bought the Wu-Tang Clan album that no one else can buy. He bought it for $2 million, but then it came out that there was this clause in the contract where Wu-Tang Clan or Bill Murray could steal it back in a caper/heist.
Yes.
That was fake,
Yeah.
Really?
which is
It
like
was.
the perfect fake.
It really was spot
It was
on.
so-
'Cause
Does this have anything to do with ISIL?
No.
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 No?
What? No.
Just check.
I mean, maybe,
No,
but no.
really.
Because, there's all this stuff happening in the world.
Oh, you've been
And
paying
now
attention.
I'm thinking,
Hmm.
I got to know more about the Wu-Tang Clan.
This
Bill
is
Murray thing.
unrelated to like radicalization
Yes.
stuff.
It
an
sounds like something that would radicalize
Even though Shkreli
people.
and ISIS are probably in the same
They
camp
might
now.
be high-fiving each other.
So yes, so that was a hoax, but a lot of news outlets picked it up like it was fact, and that's how it spread. And that is the danger of virality.
Yep.
Viral? Is that a new word? Virality?
What's the word? No. Virally.
How about viral?
Yeah.
But
No.
virality?
There's a word
I
there.
don't know.
That's going to
Anyway,
catch on.
the dangers of the internet are there.
Yeah.
We turn now.
Well, we should also mention he did actually get arrested. The other day.
Yeah, right. He got arrested.
Well,
This guy.
But the SEC arrested him because of
Securities
shit
fraud.
It was for securities fraud of like from 3 or 4 years ago.
Which means he basically like said to potential investors that like things were great when they were not.
Yeah, it's basically the first scene in Arrested Development.
Right.
Like they came out on boats,
Right.
and like hauled him off.
Right.
Whatever.
So I guess karma could be a thing. And Wu-Tang Clan truly isn't anything to F with.
And it's definitely his fault because he definitely painted a target on his back.
Right.
Like he probably wouldn't be arrested.
Well, you buy a $2 million record, you raise some flags.
Yeah.
Okay, switching
Ain't
gears
no argument from me.
to a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. Long
Is
time
it
ago.
is it getting further away?
But
the
No, it's
universe
getting
is
closer.
expanding.
if the universe is in fact expanding.
But time has passed since episode 6, so it's getting a little bit closer.
No,
Oh.
what?
Are we
It's
back to the beginning? I'm
Yeah.
confused. Is this
Back
Back
to-
to the Future?
No.
No.
This is Star Wars.
Another movie for the 80s.
Yeah.
or
Correct.
70s, right.
Russ, you saw Star
I saw
Wars: The
Star
Force
Wars.
Awakens last night.
Premiered last night. I saw it at 7:15. I think it premiered at 7.
At what theater? I'm a theater
At the
guy.
Forest Hills.
Uh-oh.
theater.
They have theaters there. Okay.
Apparently they do.
Steve, you a big Star Wars guy?
No,
He hates it.
I couldn't
apparently.
give a crap.
Why?
It's
You're a
just-
projectionist
it's
from the
kid
70s.
Stuff. It's silly. It's childish. I thought about the first one.
Do you like? Is there anything sci-fi that you'd prefer to be watching? Is that like more Blade Runner, something darker and
Darker.
grounded?
Definitely. I'm in the darker.
You like Blade
category.
Runner?
Yeah.
I
no,
like.
that's a
I
more
saw
serious
a
movie.
dark
Alien.
sci-fi film
I
the other
want to
day.
say something. So when the first Star Wars came out, a friend of mine was working in a screening room, and he was excited about it. He was
Sure.
into that kind of thing, and he said, "Steve, you got to see this movie." And I said, "It's not really my thing." He says, "You got to see it soon because everybody at the studio knows it's going to bomb. This is
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be a bomb. It's
Sure.
sci-fi movies. They never do well,
Right.
Yeah.
you know." And he was serious. So
Yeah.
Little did he
they
know.
said that to me about Forrest Gump. No, I said that to somebody
Huh.
about Forrest Gump. I was doing a screening of Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
and I watched this movie. I said, "This is a really lame movie."
The
What-
feather.
there was-
when did you say that? At the what
At the-
part?
before the movie came out? It was
Okay.
it was a private screening.
You hadn't seen it yet.
I had seen it.
Oh, you
Oh.
did, and you.
I was running it.
So
I was
what
running
made you
the
think-
screening room. And
what-
I ran Forrest Gump.
Yeah, but what made you think that movie was gonna flop after
It was
have
just-
seeing it? Were you like, this is too good?
He's too stupid, you know. He's not a likable stupid. I thought. You know,
Yeah. Wow.
box of chocolates, crap. But you know he. So anyway,
Box of chocolates.
so
I'll
I
give you
said-
that. I'll give
I
you
s-
that.
I said to the guy from whatever studio that was, I said, I don't think so.
This ain't gonna
and they're
work.
like, we have high hopes for this.
Yeah.
You know, Tom Hanks. I said, no, take it from me. I know this shit.
Dude, wins.
Meanwhile,
an
they've
this
Oscar.
done all
movie's
the
going-
testing at this point. Like I'm sure they knew.
Testing,
it was gonna be a monster.
schmesting.
Dude wins. That movie wins every award under the
right,
sun.
Yeah.
the hell's wrong with you?
I can't win them all.
I
Yeah.
guess not.
You know, I can't
not the
pick
big
up.
ones. So
But
you don't get.
do you know the story about Rocky is tied to New York, New York.
Okay, I do. Oh, because it was a multi-picture deal with
Right.
him?
It was a multi-picture deal, and they were like,
with
you
Sly
know,
Stallone.
look, we want a New York, New York, because it's got Liza Minnelli and De Niro. It's going to be a big movie, but this Rocky movie, a movie about a boxer,
Yeah.
this can go nowhere, you know. So please let us out of the thing for Rocky. We'll just take New York, New York. And I said, no, these movies are tied together. It's a package.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we'll take this piece of crap Rocky, and we'll, you know.
Yeah, another.
So no, even they don't know.
No,
My point
definitely
is,
not.
I'm just a
Sure.
guy who runs movies, but
Yeah,
they are supposed to know this crap,
Right.
and they don't know either.
Right.
That's all.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, the movie review.
you
movie
hate Star Wars, but
What?
I'm saying, Steve, you hate
Steve,
Star
I
Wars.
hate Star Wars.
Yeah.
Russ-
They would have to pay me $1 billion.
Oh, that is the dumbest thing you've ever said. What are you talking? $1
All
billion.
right, $100 million.
Oh, okay.
I'm
now
already
that we're-
coming down.
Now that we're grounded in reality, The Force Awakens.
Yes. Premiered
Give
last
us
night.
I would be
your
sleeping.
spoiler-free review.
Spoiler-free review. I'm not like a hardcore Star Wars guy. I like Star Wars. I've seen them all. I was excited for this movie, and it lived up to my expectations. I really
Really?
enjoyed myself.
You're very low expectations.
They were not low. They
Oh,
were
okay.
like They were
Mediocre.
not. They were. I would say B+ level recommendation
Oh.
expectations. I'd probably give it maybe an A-.
Wow.
Wow,
That's
good.
high.
So it bested my expectations. A lot of fun, great popcorn movie, good performances. It's weird to see a Star Wars movie because it's been so long since like someone who could act and deliver lines and like a good writing. It's been since the 80s
I almost feel like they
since there's
should.
been good writing
Was
in a
there
Star Wars
ever?
movie.
Was good writing once?
There was.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
Seriously, there was.
I
Okay.
think they need to do something where they somehow erase from existence 1 through 3.
I was thinking that myself. We're like, what could they say in these new movies that would like totally nullify those the episodes 1 through 3?
They were
Because
just-
they're so
just a
bad.
They're really terrible.
They are so goddamn awful. I hate them all.
There's a rumor going around that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord, and that almost redeems those movies. 'Cause,
Right.
like he was behind the machinations of everything, and it was
Yeah.
very subtle. and then they had to change the scripts of episodes 2 and 3 because everyone hated Jar Jar so much.
Right. He did not test.
But that totally would have redeemed a large chunk of episode 1 for me.
Right. All right. But back to episode 7.
Yes.
This is kind of. I mean, I guess it's not surprising. I think.
I mean, it's a very difficult thing to land. So you have all these expectations, and also sci-fi is very difficult to do well,
right?
Because it comes off as very preachy or very self-serious or whatever. And this felt like a really good mix of like action and comedy and good likable characters, which is really tough.
You haven't mentioned the secret word.
What's that?
Special effects. Isn't that what movies are really all about?
Well, I should mention, though, the fact that they relied so heavily on traditional effects instead of CG made a huge difference for me.
Well, and that's also why the first 3 suck so much.
Well, one of the many reasons why it sucked so much. And, there are CG scenes in this. And to be honest, they do kind of stand out in the sense that, like, they're a little disconcerting.
What do you mean?
Well, so much of the movie is traditional effects. So much is puppets and, like, physical things.
It's great. It's great.
It's great.
I love that.
And then, but there are a handful of things, I would say a small handful, that use CG. Obviously, all the spaceships flying around, but there are certain like characters and things that use CG. And it just, there's like an uncanny valley thing, I guess, going on or something where it just doesn't quite fit with everything else. But overall, I thought it was really enjoyable.
Well, I'm happy to hear about that.
I know you're never ever going to see it. But
I'm never going to see it, but I might use it in a review or something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's exactly what I had anticipated. That this was going to be. That this was just kind of going to give people what they wanted.
Yeah, I would say it feels pretty safe.
They paid $4 billion for it. They got to give people.
Oh, Disney did.
Yeah,
I mean,
they got to give people what
they'll
they
do
want.
okay on that deal.
Well,
I think they'll be fine.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
the thing.
How long?
Which is
How long did
crazy
that take?
because when you think about it, like
Really?
$4 billion is undervalued.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I
mean,
they
the
stole it. They
merchandising-
just stole it.
They got it for nothing. Think
Yeah.
about it. They're gonna make a freaking Star Wars movie every 3 years until
Every 3 years, every 1 year for the next.
No, you think they're gonna do every year?
100%. Because they have all
episode
these.
8's coming out in 2017.
No,
in
but they have
2016?
all these spin-off movies that they're working on. So they have the
Oh.
primary. It's like Avengers at this point. They have the primary arc, so that'll every 3 years or whatever it is, and then they have. Here's one called. I think it's Rogue One is one of the spin-offs, and it's focused on like the heist to get the Death Star plans. And another one is focused on, I think, Boba Fett or Han Solo or whatever. So they have all these spin-off movies, and so that's what's going to sustain them through the big movies.
The best are the interviews with George Lucas, where they're like, "Hey, George, see who's dating your girlfriend now? See that? See what they're doing?
What are you talking about?
And that's kind of what it is. Like,
Oh yeah,
he sold. He doesn't
yeah.
know.
I feel sad. I feel
It's
a little
this
sad.
weird
Sad?
situation. No,
Sad?
I don't feel
$4
sad.
billion.
Right,
sad?
of course. But once
But
you,
like money
Steve,
didn't mean anything
Steve,
to him before
once,
that deal.
Once you reach a certain level of wealth,
Right.
nothing effing
That's true.
matters.
You gotta
And then
feel
you
bad.
become a human being again.
The dude for let's say 8 years that he was working on those prequels, like that was his life for 8 years, and he just got shit on for 8 straight years. Granted, they were terrible movies.
Yeah, they
but
were bad.
That's you don't wish that on anyone. That's just like trying to make a good thing to just be like absolutely shit on.
And I'm not even saying let's feel bad for him for that. I think like, he's in all these conversations now where it's like, oh, hey George, like they kind of took your shit and did it better than
Right.
you were doing.
Oh, okay.
Well, they
And-
like wheeled him off and like shot him in the head, and then went and like
Yeah, they were like-
took care of his children.
They're like, somebody come and get George. He's drooling. Can we
Yeah.
just wheel him out of here and have him play with a yo-yo for 7
What I
years?
thought about him though, so when he was trying to make THX 1138,
Yeah.
who wrote the check that let him make that money?
I have no effing idea.
no idea.
Francis Ford.
Oh, really?
Really?
And when Francis Ford, screwed up many times and didn't have any money,
Sure.
and George was then a billionaire,
Yeah.
I didn't see George reciprocating.
Well, who knows the intimate deals
How did
of their
Jack get
relationship?
made? Maybe Jack was funded by George Lucas.
Okay,
Perhaps.
got me there.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
But
But I have one a little addendum to the Star Wars thing.
Okay.
Don't if you're not going to spoil anything.
No,
hasn't
no,
seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I know, but still,
this
you
is about
are
the first
radical
Star-
enough
This
that
is
you
about
would.
the first Star Wars.
Okay.
Okay.
A New Hope.
Well, I just want to give a historical perspective.
Sure.
Right? Technically. So Star Wars, the original Star Wars, was the first movie, or one of the first movies in Dolby Stereo, which is misnamed because it's really Dolby Surround for movie theaters.
So this was how many channels?
4.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the thing is, up to that point, very few theaters could show. Basically, all movie theaters in the 70s of the 20,000 screens in the United States, almost all of them were mono.
Mono?
Really?
Yeah.
That sucks.
So along comes Star Wars. Well,
And this
because
is
the only
77?
way, the only way to show multi-channel sound in movie theaters from the 50s to 1977 was specially printed, film prints that had mag soundtracks, like mag tape printed onto the film.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really expensive. Very few theaters could show them. Those projectors were very, difficult and expensive to maintain.
Mm.
So only major cities had them. No small cities ever had those things.
Gotcha.
And so along comes Dolby Stereo, and it opens a door that now hundreds, thousands of theaters could have surround sound.
Okay.
And it doesn't start with A Star Is Born, but that's the one. I mean, with Star Wars, it was actually A Star Is Born is the movie that was the first Dolby Stereo movie.
Okay.
But anyway, it opened the door, and it really radically changed everything for mixing sound for movies, because so many more movies are going to be mixed in surround up than had to before Star Wars. So in that sense, it's a very important movie in the history of film.
The technical history of film. That's pretty cool.
Little side there.
Now, do you know what it's like now? Do you know how the projection and the sound works
Well,
now?
now it's all
Dolby Digital.
It's hard drives that are movies are on hard drives,
And everything is on that file.
Right.
It's on that file.
The sound, and is it 5.1 in studio, or is
It's
it 7
5.1
or
minimally.
or 7.1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, so here's what we'll do, moving beyond Star Wars, right? Because I think
there's life after.
I think we got.
There's
I think
nothing
we're
else
done.
I can say that wouldn't start spoiling the movie.
I'm gonna see it. I guess I'll see it maybe like in a week or so.
Go to an early movie.
Yeah, that's the move, right?
Go to a nice theater.
No, there's a really nice bow tie in. You go to bow tie ever?
Yeah.
Bow tie is pretty good. I like bow tie.
Pretty good.
Not the Chelsea on 23rd Street, though.
No, that one I like too.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to that. It used to be Clearview, and now it's I like it.
They had a screening there of a documentary about movie theater projections like a month ago.
Whoa.
And I went to that.
And they didn't ask you to be on?
No, they should have actually.
They should.
I mean, I would have had a lot to say. But anyway, they had one of my friends was in the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
But it was a really beautiful movie. It's called The Dying of the Light.
Oh.
Very grim.
Kind of sad.
Well, it's
morose. It's true though.
It's all coming to an end.
It's all digital now, right?
But it's it's a really beautiful. It's a good looking movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see it in like a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, not dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna see that. Maybe I'll watch that. When I'm older.
Okay. When you're
okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll trade off stories because we have a couple stories we want to get to today.
All right.
As well, and I let me just start things off with this ridiculous story coming out of Utah. You order a lot on Amazon ever or no?
Definitely.
You do? Okay. I didn't realize this was a thing. And Russ?
All the time.
Obviously, myself, I'm a Prime member. I feel like 80% of the stuff in my house came to me in a brown box from UPS.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, give or take.
I feel kind of guilty about it.
Me too, but I just get over it and pay the
because
lower
sometimes
price.
I go to a store to buy something and it's a hassle. They don't have it. It's out of stock. They make all these. Just
go Amazon.
There it is.
Well,
no
that's
problem,
the thing. Like,
right?
you ever go to like whatever you go to, right? Bed Bath, let's say, for example. They go, yeah, we don't have that humidifier. We got to order it. We'll send it, but we'll send it to you.
Right.
Like, this sounds like an effing pain in the ass.
Right.
Oh, wait, Amazon's got it for like $11 cheaper too, and I could have it tomorrow.
Right.
Goodbye.
Right.
Goodbye, sir or ma'am. Yeah. The people of the town South Jordan in Utah, members of the Daybreak community, which is, I guess, like a little development there, they've been getting a lot of their UPS and FedEx, Amazon packages stolen from their doorsteps.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
See, city guy, that kind of sounds sort of weird to me, but okay.
Right.
They leave things on.
In Manhattan, like getting packages in Manhattan's like, or in an urban area is like kind of the better way to do it, just because there's a
little
lot
more safety.
A lot of entering a building is not as easy as you think it might be in Manhattan. Right. So, but yeah, so people were stealing these packages and right off their front steps, and that's a problem. So the Daybreak community decided to start filling fake UPS packages and FedEx boxes with rocks.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. Okay.
Does that discourage? I guess it does. If you like risk going up to someone's porch and you lift something up and it's got rocks in it, or it's super
This
heavy. You're
sounds
like, oh,
this
forget
isn't a
this.
real story.
No,
The
it's
ceiling is real, but putting rocks in it, this is like.
look. It comes from Boing Boing.
Oh,
Looking
well,
at
then it's true.
I mean, coming. Well, I'm not saying, but I trust Boing Boing for the most part.
Yeah, they're pretty.
They're pretty on point.
They do due diligence.
They do. And yeah, people been doing it. Now, here's the thing, though. Like, if I'm putting rocks in a box and then someone steals my box of rocks,
Yes.
they'll get home and they open it up.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, man.
Oh, God, I
This
won't do
ain't-
that again.
But is that the reaction?
I got a better idea. They should put something else in that box.
Shit?
Shit, yeah.
Human shit?
Human shit.
That's dark.
They won't be stealing anymore.
Don't
Yeah, but you know what? Like, if I get home and I'm that robber and I get home and I open that up and I see human poop in there,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm returning. I'm bringing
Oh,
this back.
But don't you think a lot of these
Alright.
people like try to lift the box and it's super heavy and they just
Well, maybe
Can't?
maybe the rocks are just to give it the weight of
Yeah.
whatever they.
Yeah, I
give
don't
something,
think
not
it's like a
so
boulder.
heavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not putting like a slab
They
of
don't want
marble in
an
there.
empty box wouldn't fool anybody. They gotta
Yeah.
put some rocks into it.
and so has it been successful?
Yeah, people. Well, the idea apparently has been, quote, spreading like wildfire. And a lot of communities in Utah, in this town of South Jordan, have been doing it.
What if you put a tracking device in your box?
a lot
That's
of work.
expensive.
That's a lot of work. It's not a bad idea. Like, that's the move, right?
Yeah.
Let's just find this asshole.
Right.
Put him in jail.
Or
But yeah, that's
just
the
like
thing.
attach a really long string.
Yeah, but
That
that'll
seems
work.
cheaper.
That
Or
might
maybe
work.
when they go to pick it up, like it opens up and a thing comes out and
Yeah.
takes their picture.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
That's sophisticated. That is sophisticated stuff.
It's like a cartoon.
Well, there
I
was.
guess
You
so.
remember in the '90s? There was a thing about zip guns. Do you remember this? Where
No, I
like
don't.
packages were being sent around, and there'd be a gun inside the package, and you'd open up the package, and the gun would shoot you in the face.
What kind of
sounds-
gun?
They
A zip
called them
gun.
zip guns. I think because they were made of plastic or something.
Yeah.
What?
Do you remember this? Am I
Yeah,
crazy?
Vaguely, yeah.
That's weird.
So you could do that.
Zip guns are like any
kinda grim.
homemade gun.
Yeah. Okay, like a rubber band gun or
You know,
something.
like people
But
in
with
jail
bullets.
make.
Oh, like a
Like
Chevy
in that
gun.
movie with John Malkovich.
Right.
Yeah. In
Okay.
the Line of Fire.
Nice.
It was a good one.
Oh,
You remember?
yeah. Oh, great movie.
Of course.
Way better than Star Wars.
Oh,
Any of
shots
them.
fired.
Any of
Shots
them.
fired. We got to take a break. When we go back, more with Steve, Sphere Guttenberg, and more with the 404 show. Stick around. 404 show today is also sponsored by Canary, a complete home security system in a single device. I've been using Canary,
The
And-
Eye in the Sky.
and I'm getting a very uncomfortable peek into the monotony that is my dog's life.
I assume there's not a lot of moving involved.
He just sits there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this working? Oh, it's working. He just doesn't move. Because Canary's 1080p HD camera pretty much picks up everything in my living room. It's got a wide angle lens and it's motion detection capable night vision, which is so cool. Because when I turn on the lights, I like see the infrared go away.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of rad. What's really cool about Canary, a lot of other motion detection sort of security systems out there don't go the extra length. Well, Canary has computer vision and smart notifications. They can actually send you notifications to your smartphone if something gnarly is happening while you're not
Awesome.
around.
Very cool.
Emergency response features such as a 90 decibel siren
Oh my
that could
God.
probably wake up the freaking dead, scare off intruders, all that kind of stuff. It can also alert police, local police and fire departments near your home. So if you're traveling, you can quickly get in touch with the right people. That's important.
That's great.
Canary has automatic arming and disarming modes that know when you are at your house or when you have left, and you can link up to 4 Canary devices when you install the home system. Pretty damn great. And also, look, I had my mom watching the kid today.
Yeah.
I go, Mom, there's a camera here, but don't worry, I'm gonna put on privacy mode, which means it ain't gonna record anything. Because I got this thing about looking in on my mom with
Yeah,
the
it's
kid.
weird.
I don't want
It's
to do
weird.
that. All right, start protecting your home with Canary today for just $1.99. Go to meetcanary.com and use the promo code 404show. That's one word, 404show, to get free overnight shipping. You could have this thing tomorrow. Go to canary.com. I'm sorry, that's meetcanary, MEET canary.com, and use the promo code 404show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Your turn, Steve.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
I'm on?
Yeah, you're on. Go. On air. Can't you see the on air light?
Oh, yeah.
No, you can't see the on air light. What do you got for us today, bud?
Well, I was doing a little talking about Star Wars and its technology and stuff. So I was at a recording session the other day that was done with a thing called a binaural head, which is a plastic head,
Right, which
that
we've
has
talked
microphones.
about.
We've talked about
There's
it in the
like
past.
there's an infamous gag on this show about a binaural head.
Yes.
But nevertheless.
Right. So there's microphones where the ears would be.
Right.
It's a life-size head, and it actually has a torso. And
Right.
everything. So I was at this session, and it was like a folk singer and string players that accompany, and like violin.
So someone
cello.
invited you to this and
No, I know those people, so I went to their session.
Cool.
And I was thinking about that. This session means that there's only one microphone at this, one pair of microphones in this head. So the singer who plays guitar, violin, viola, and cello, they're spread out around this thing. So when they're making the record, they can see each other. They can give each other visual cues. They're not wearing headphones. They're listening to each other acoustically. They can hear how loud they are relative to each other, which they're never going to hear if they're wearing headphones, because with headphones and sessions, you're hearing a mix on your headphone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I asked, I'm not a musician, but I asked one of the musicians after a take. So I said, now, if you had made this same record with the same people, but in a conventional studio, not only would it sound different, they would play different.
Sure.
It would be a completely different record, not just sonically, but musically. And I think that's really interesting. And also, when they finish a take, or they finish a few takes and those takes are edited, it's done. There's no mix later.
Nice.
There's nothing to mix.
Right.
So everything about it is a completely different thing, and in mostly good ways, not exclusively. But I'm going to do an article about it for a magazine.
Yeah, interesting.
From not so much the technology, but how it feels from the musician's perspective. Because so in other words, they made a whole record, 10 songs in one day, in about 11 hours.
That's pretty good.
So a lot of all of Bob Dylan's first records, like up through like the late 60s, they were basically recorded in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
The Beatles'
amazing.
first album was recorded in 3 hours.
That was the norm, just from a technological standpoint. Like, they didn't have an alternative.
Right. So it's weird that technology is usually used to make things faster and more efficient and stuff. So where people made entire records.
Yeah.
The Beatles' first album was recorded in like 3 or 4 hours. Now people take 6 months to make records. It's kind of weird that it gets slower and slower and slower, not faster and faster.
I don't think when you talk about the era of when Beatles records were being made, there was no idea of like production value on an album in the way we understand it now. Like, obviously those guys were like, this should sound good, but they weren't like,
they just played as they would play in a
They're
club.
like, hey, we're playing this, but we want people to be able to hear it when we're not in front of them.
It wasn't too many years later, 67,
well, like Phil Spector,
that things did change.
Right? That was all Spector, right? He really did a lot of
of production, but he did it in the 50s.
And killing.
And, I mean, early 60s.
Yeah, and murdering.
And, that came later.
That came later.
But meanwhile, there's a label in Brooklyn called Daptone.
Of course.
They record analog to 8-track tape. And I interviewed that guy a few years ago, and he told me a great thing. He said, when I started this company, I wanted to record to analog. I bought a 4-track machine. I used the 4-track for a while, so it's just too limiting. So I bought an 8-track, and then I had the 8-track for a while. I thought, it's better, but maybe I should just go to 16-track. So he buys a 16-track machine. He's using the 16-track machine. Then he thinks, it's too many tracks. I'm going to go back and get another 8-track. And that's what he stayed with. And the interesting thing about recording to 8-track, beyond the sound and all that stuff, is that you have limited amount of space to do things. So it imposes a way of making records.
Right.
Where the guitar player does a bit, and he'll say to the guy, think you can do better? Yeah, I'll do it. I can do that better. Well, realize when you do it better, I'm recording over your previous take.
Right.
So you have to play it for real. Not like I'm going to play it like 82 times and edit together 47 different things. Just do a performance. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be really, really good.
And that's what they used to do. That's
what they do now. And that's what I did with Daptone.
That's an aberration, obviously. That's not the norm.
But I'm saying, but he could do the same thing in digital.
Sure.
But he has an excuse.
Right.
So he can say, look, it's analog. I got to do it this way.
Right.
But I just think it's interesting to use how the intersection of technology and music affect each other, not just from a sound point of view, but how the music is played.
Yeah.
And if they can play, which is not a given, play well, it's better.
I'm not sure there's a more tumultuous relationship between two ideas being music and tech.
Right.
That are like more sandpapery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything else we're super stoked about.
Right.
But like when it comes to music, it's like, nah, this didn't need to go digital.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like everything else we've embraced with open arms.
Right.
Like film.
Right.
Yeah, film, sure. It looked great, but like 4K's this shit.
Right.
But there
Red
are,
cameras
but there
are
people
ridiculous.
that like swear by film.
Of course,
like physical film.
but I mean, I used to fly that flag too.
Sure.
I mean, especially when I was in like school and I was shooting on 35 millimeter.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
You shot on 35?
Oh yeah,
Really?
And I shot on 16.
Yeah, well, on 16, but 30. You shot 35 millimeter film?
Very expensive.
Movie film?
Once.
Really? Wow.
I mean, you know, at that time the prosumer digital camcorders weren't doing. They were doing the most they were doing was like 720p, and then you know maybe in like 2010, 2011 when I started to get my hands and play with like a red camera a few times and starting to really see like, oh no, dude, this looks unbelievable. That was the point where I was like, oh yeah, we don't need film anymore. We just don't. It just looks so good.
Now Hateful Eight is coming out on what is it?
70 millimeter.
70.
Yeah.
On 130 screens in the U.S.
Pretty crazy.
And,
I mean, but like that's the thing. Like he's gonna hold on to that, and I get it. But like, I don't know. I think if like push comes to shove, Quentin could sit down and get the same look with a red camera.
It's the purity of it.
Yeah.
You know,
I get it. He
owns-
wants to introduce variables where the whole film could get ruined.
Right.
Where like someone could
precious.
open up the black
It's
bag.
precious.
Yeah, come on. It doesn't make sense.
He owns a theater in Hollywood that only shows film.
I get it. And like he's holding on to that the same way that I hold on to, I don't know, pinball
Star
machines.
Wars.
Like pinball machines.
Yeah.
You know? Where like I'm like, no, that the analogness of pinball machines is really refreshing and nice.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I don't
that's a good analogy.
I think so.
Except one is a lot more expensive than the other.
Dude, pinball machines are expensive, man. They're like 10 grand.
Well, not like film.
No, I know. But yeah.
70 millimeter specifically.
70 is gigantic.
You know, the
film.
thing about running 70 is physically harder to do
Yeah.
on
Sure.
everything. On the
all the
You have
machinery.
to lift up those reels.
It's crazy.
They're
It's
not
just
light.
crazy to me.
Yeah.
But look, he's an auteur. He can do whatever the F he wants.
Yeah.
But 20 years from now, come on. You think there's still going to be a movie shot on film?
Hey, applauded him for doing it.
I guess.
Yeah,
I feel like now
whatever.
90% of films are shot digitally.
When someone does something that's harder and more expensive,
but there's
Sure.
no good
Don't
reason
say-
for it.
Well, I mean, it does.
I mean,
I've seen the comparison. So from a quality, like comparing to 4K, it's much more high resolution, arguably, than 4K or
Sure.
Red, even. Like
Sure.
What Red is shooting at.
And I get that. I mean, like
And
IMAX.
he loves that era. So whatever. I
No,
agree.
I know.
And
And
you know
like
what?
IMAX stuff
I think he's
needs to
doing
be
it
shot on
thinking,
that. And
I may
think
not be able to. So while it's still sort
Yeah.
of possible, let me do it.
Yeah.
That should be applauded.
This might
Let
be
me-
the last ever
Sure.
70 millimeter
Well,
big movie.
Well, like if they're going to continue to do IMAX stuff, and like that's 70 millimeter, right?
No, I don't think
No,
it's. I don't
they
think
shoot
it's
that
film
digital
anymore.
now?
It's digital,
yeah, digital.
Yeah.
Look, I'll take a step back and admit that yes, it's cool to do something like 70 because it's like this really odd specialty kind of thing
Yeah.
that transcends what we're able to do with digital.
And 500 years from now, it'll be playable, and
Don't
the
worry.
files won't be.
Don't
I'm
worry.
sorry.
I know he's freaked.
What?
Steve has this thing where he freaks out about like archiving stuff. He thinks that
Don't you think it's easier to archive those files than it is to archive a 70 millimeter film 500 years from now?
No, because as long as film is kept under low humidity and low temperature,
Yeah,
That's
that's
very
that's-
demanding.
you
and
go to
that's
Siberia, you
expensive.
put it in the ground.
That's
it's
expensive.
No.
that doesn't sound expensive
I
to you?
mean, but with those files, you can easily
With
make
those files,
60,000 backups.
With the files, you have to migrate them every 10 years or 20 years to keep that like playable.
Well,
right?
you don't keep them on one hard drive. You have
No,
diversification.
I don't mean that the hard drive goes.
Oh, you
bad or
mean,
anything. I mean
for
the
support.
format changes. So you made
I
your
understand.
movie, in 1990
Sure.
in digital. It ain't gonna play anymore.
So you just got to make sure that you have players that can handle
You have to keep going
Sure.
over and over. My wife is the digital archivist for
Yeah.
the Metropolitan Museum,
Yeah.
and when you have a large archive and you have to keep migrating
Sure.
it
That
every
does
5
seem
or 10
daunting.
years, it's hard. If you have the film and it's sitting there in a can, 50 years from
Yeah.
now, you'll play that film. No
yeah,
problem.
on a projection.
On a projector, yeah.
On a
doesn't-
projector
it
that
doesn't
no
exist
one
anymore.
has.
They have them. They don't
And where
fall
do they
apart.
keep those?
So your hard drive won't play in 50 years, but the projector,
No,
you'll
hard drive would play in 50
squirt
years.
some oil in it, it'll play just
Why
fine.
the hell wouldn't a hard drive work in 50 years?
Because it doesn't. It's got plastic parts in it. It won't play in 50
Like a
years.
flash
It
drive?
won't
Why
play.
wouldn't the flash
It
drive
won't
work
play
in 50 years?
CDs won't play. Nothing will
CDs
play.
might not.
Yeah, well, all digital media is
He's just
way
saying
more
the
friendly.
OS won't support your 50-year-old.
Thank you.
USB
Thank you for
stick.
translating.
I don't know. I think the jury's kind of out. I think like there's someone making the proper standardized.
Oh, you think there are smart people? You're going to be doing
Yeah, I
Trump.
think-
There's smart people out there that worry about that crap.
Of course,
You're
it's
gonna
not
keep
for
it
me to
going.
worry about. It's
Yeah,
for some archival person to worry about.
You know-
For people like your wife to worry about.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's her problem, not mine.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
I can't tell. You don't think so?
I'm just saying it's a really hard thing to do.
Mhm.
Yes,
Life is hard.
that's true.
And archiving
So
life is
when I
hard.
became a projectionist in 1973, I'm working in this theater on 42nd Street. A couple of days, an old guy comes and visits the booth, and I said to him, I got a question. There's this part of this projector, I can't figure out what it actually does. Projectors are relatively simple devices. What is that?
Hmm.
He looks at me and says, that's where you put the crank. Meaning, this projector was made when not all projectors were run by electric motors.
Sure.
The projectionist
Literally turned
in
the thing.
1915
Yeah.
may have been turning a crank. It had been in continuous use from the turn of the century
Yeah.
to the mid 1970s. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It just keeps
It's
going.
a freaking wheel,
did
man.
How did those fans in
No,
the Wild
it-
West work? Because
Huh?
couldn't they
What?
just use that technology? Was it a dude turning something? They should have just used those.
People just sweated. You know, he doesn't
They had
understand
fans.
sweating.
Yeah, like a
No,
cylinder.
no,
What do you
people
mean I
just said
understand?
it's
Labor?
freaking hot. So
No.
you're thinking about it.
It
from
seems crazy to
being
me
a
that
cool-
they couldn't automate.
You got to go back in time and say, "Hey guys,
Yeah.
you know, you could be a lot cooler."
Yeah, Steve, you're not that old, dude. You can't.
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm
No,
just saying it's like no, you can't apply your frame of reference to people who are hot.
Of course not. Of
You
course
know,
not.
people didn't bathe every day. They didn't walk around saying you smell bad. No, it's like
Right.
everybody smelled like that.
Right.
It wasn't like
Right.
it
Well,
wasn't an
Couldn't
unusual
they like
thing.
chart like a crank toy? You do that at the beginning of the movie and then just like let it go,
Yeah, that makes it like a wind up thing.
or like a player piano.
Yeah, they had automatic pianos since like a while.
They
right?
didn't.
No.
What do you mean? In the Wild West, they didn't have player
No, the
pianos?
projectors. They didn't have a
I know
spring
you
in
couldn't
them
just
to
like
make
bring
them
that
go.
over.
Seems like that technology could have been used in
I
other
would have made a
applications.
mint back then,
Yeah.
You would have been, you would have been big.
That's
you'd
pretty
be the
good.
George Lucas, of,
and then I would have
that
died of
time.
smallpox.
Well, then this
like,
next
in a
story
minute.
kind of plays into the whole
Oh, it
analog
does?
versus
Segue.
digital
good.
thing.
Perfect segue is good. Segues are good.
I came across this really weird question, and I was like, "Oh man, this doesn't make sense. It's kind of blowing my mind.
Right.
Why is this not a thing? I don't
Oh,
get
man.
it."
I don't get it.
So you wear a watch?
No.
Do you have what kind of clocks you have in your house? I imagine they're digital because you need the big numbers to see.
Yeah, some digital watches. I'm clocks, but
Why-
I have a phone.
So
No,
why?
not a flip phone. That's my watch.
Right. Okay. Fine. So why does a digital clock? Now, I've experienced this. Why does a digital clock sometimes run too slow or too
Yeah,
fast?
yeah.
It's digital.
Right. Right.
Like,
I-
why-
I've got
I
a
have one.
digital watch on right now.
Right. So is it ever run too fast?
Sure.
Why?
So this, I don't know. I haven't read the thing.
Doesn't it have a spring in it?
No,
Sorry. Couldn't resist.
that's good. So my guess would be maybe slight power variations from the battery to the computer.
That doesn't
No.
make sense.
Wouldn't make a
No.
difference.
That doesn't make sense. Why would that happen?
It's
It's
an
not-
oscillator of some sort that's keeping the time.
Right. The
It's
time
voltage
is
not the part.
technically analog still. It's just
Well, it's it's some kind of frequency thing that's in there that's clicking
right.
away. Basically.
So now this is not necessarily the exact answer, but this is what's been upvoted most on this Reddit thread that discusses
then
this
it's
very
true.
thing. No, I looked a little more into it, and this is in fact how digital clocks work.
Okay.
They have a small device inside that vibrates in order to keep time.
Interesting.
The clock is manufactured to know how many vibrations are in 1 second. However, it's never exact. It could actually be 1.0000001 seconds, or 1.1 seconds, or something as close as 0.999
A physical
seconds.
thing that's vibrating
Right,
is
so-
inside. No way.
So over time,
No.
yes, I looked it up. That's how they work.
All right.
So
No,
there's
now-
a moving piece inside a digital clock.
Yeah, look
Okay.
it up.
So that's the case with your computer as well. There's a moving piece controlling your clock on your computer.
So Jeff, look up Accutron.
Okay.
So Accutron were these, before there was digital, there were these watches in the, I guess, 50s, 60s, and 70s that had a tuning fork
Okay.
inside, and the tuning fork would be struck and vibrate, and that's how this watch
How would
was-
you strike it?
Well, it had a thing that was
So it was on a very small scale.
a very small scale, but it was like, I'm saying it was a thing that vibrated, a physical thing inside the watch that vibrated and then made it.
But what Jeff is saying is that's
I'm
still
saying
the
it's
case.
same
That
thing.
is
I'm
kinda-
making a,
has
you
not
know, I'm
changed.
making
You're making
segues.
right?
Yeah,
Here.
no, that makes sense. But
Right.
like, you would think, I don't know. For me, it was just like, man, I kind of just thought like a digital watch, like just new.
This one's like a
I just
computer
know.
chip. It's just like a computer chip.
No, it's
Yeah.
a tone generator. It's a tone generator, a
Well,
frequency generator.
maybe the way the word vibrate is you're understanding it as one thing, where like in a circuit it's something else.
I'm
No?
sure
Okay.
it's obviously a very, very minor,
Of
tiny
course.
vibration.
Of
A
course.
can barely feel it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, so you have the power. Obviously, you have a battery in the watch, and the battery is powering this tiny little vibration thing that is constantly going and going, and that's what's determining it. And that just gets projected.
You know, I'll just make up a reason.
Here, no, this is so someone else posted something to echo what you said, Russ, about frequency voltages.
Yeah.
Some cheaper digital clocks use the frequency of the wall current. Wall currents AC pulse 60 times per second in North America.
They do, but they're not accurate. They're not
That's
exactly
what I'm saying,
is
though.
why I would-
you guys
which-
poo-pooed my idea. and there
Yeah,
you
but I
go.
don't know if that's
Reddit
like,
guy says that.
No. Because it's not exactly 60.
I don't
It's
know.
59.9999.
So, but
Sure,
that's what they're saying. Is
but that's
why
but
it's
that's why a
inaccurate.
watch would go off the clock
but
after
you're
a
not
while.
plugged into the wall. So
Digital clocks use crystals to keep time. Magic crystals.
I do
like
like all these
quartz.
answers.
Keep in mind these aren't traditional looking crystals. They work because
You get 'em in a
crystals have a
gem shop.
piezoelectric property.
Piezo.
When a piezoelectric property, when a voltage is applied to the crystal will vibrate at a set frequency. We usually get them as close to 37,768
Wee.
hertz as possible.
So this is like a guy that does this stuff.
Then we simply count to 32,768,
Simply. We
and
simply
that
do that.
is a second.
Right.
The computer does that.
Yeah.
It seems exhausting.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
work to make a digital clock.
Yeah.
I
So
say
many
just
corrections. So many corrections.
Just get a watch with gears in it.
That's what I do, baby.
No, I
Get
can't.
a Rolex.
They-
Is
they're
that
too
an
loud.
analog watch?
It's an analog watch.
It's too loud for
It's
me.
what?
Keeps me up at night.
What?
When
Are
I
you
stay
a
in
dog?
when I stay
I
in a
agree.
hotel
I agree.
and there's like a clock, I take the batteries out of the clock because it
Clock.
keeps me.
I find it with
Oh, like the
watches
tick,
it would
tick,
drive
tick,
me
tick.
crazy.
or both of them.
Oh, you
Both.
can't hear this. You can only hear this ticking if you literally have it in
Okay,
your ear.
well, I
But
had-
if it's
I
dead
had-
quiet
I
in
had-
the room,
No.
you
no,
wouldn't hear it.
No.
Yeah.
Never.
No, I actually
Never.
suffered from that I would hear watches ticking.
I'm like very sensitive. To
My
little noises.
wife, my in-laws have like a clock that does tick very loudly in their living
Yeah,
room.
I don't mean a clock. I mean a watch.
No, right. No, watches don't do that. Dude.
Yes, they do.
They
Yeah.
may be in the 20s.
You can hear them though.
You can't.
It's just a
hear
matter of degrees. I'm saying
You
In a
have
very
to really
quiet
get up close.
room,
there are
you can hear watches.
there are now analog second hands on those sort of watches.
Yeah.
and those you can't really hear because it's just a steady.
Right, but the
keeps
ones
going
that
around.
It's
click.
not the one that's jumping.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not the one that's
Right,
jumping.
right.
All right, we done with the watch stuff.
I think we're done.
I think we're good. That was good.
We exhausted
I enjoyed that.
Did
yeah.
we exhaust
But I have
that?
to do more research on that.
I think so.
I'm not convinced.
Do research during this next break.
Okay.
All right, more 404 right after this. Today's episode of the 404 Show is brought to you by our old buddies at Braintree. Russ, you're an entrepreneur that I respect a very great deal.
I am. I put myself out there.
And I know you, for a fact, use Braintree in all of your mobile payment solution applications.
They have all of the currency covered on Braintree.
All of the currency covered. That should be their new slogan.
If I want to be paid in leather coins, I don't think they support that. But pretty much real money they support.
That's their slogan, pretty much real money. But all kidding aside, Braintree lets you accept every way to pay essentially on the internet, from PayPal to Apple Pay and every little micro transaction currency platform in between. All it takes is one line of code, one simple integration. Doesn't matter what currency your customers use, because Braintree will figure out a way to let you accept over 130 of those payments. To learn more about how your company can grow with Braintree, do yourself a favor and visit BraintreePayments.com/CNET. All right, welcome back to the show. Steve Ball Bustin' Guttenberg on the
My
program.
middle name.
Sphere Ball
Ball
Bustin'.
Sphere.
I get it. Same thing. What else do you have for us?
So I have my top 10 affordable headphone list. I'm not going to do all 10, but you can link to it somewhere.
I get 2 questions asked all the time.
Yes, yes.
What game console should I buy?
No, I can't help you with that.
That doesn't have an answer. And what headphones should I buy?
Well,
But you have the answer to the latter.
as long as they're wired headphones, I'm ready.
Yeah, because
Wireless headphones are
You're a
silly.
fool. If
they're
you wear
crap,
wireless
right? Can we
headphones.
just get that
Bad
out there?
sound for more money? I think it's a true.
Well, but there are. But if you're not listening, let's say
I like
for
how you
example,
put
you're
that.
not listening to music, you're just listening like audio, like talking podcasts.
Oh
It
yeah,
seems like a
that's
good solve.
fine. That's fine.
Or if you're working out,
but
and you don't
need
want
a
to deal with
wire
wires.
is so look, you have wires coming out of your head right now. It's not such a big deal.
But Steve, when it comes to you have
I
to
kill people with wireless headphones.
I
It's
know
one
you
of my
do.
things
you have a thing
in my dreams.
right. You have to admit
Yes.
that when you're at the beach
Beach.
or something like that,
Okay.
where you're at a place where wired is not an option because there's no power. You need like a portable speaker or something like that. Like you have to admit, like using.
What did we do in the 60s? Like God, I can't imagine how
You
we
just
ever
didn't
heard
listen-
any sound.
You didn't listen to music at the
We had radios.
right. You had radios
We had
with
tape
shitty
players.
sound.
No,
That-
good sound. You
No,
don't even.
from the radios? No.
No,
Yes.
come on. So you can't for a second. Now look, I'm with you. A lot of these Bluetooth speakers sound like shit, but can't you admit that like, yeah, you know what though? When push comes to shove, and in the vein of convenience,
Yeah. If
it's okay.
if you're in like your
Okay.
garden
It's
and you want
okay.
like a Sonos situation going.
Come on, there's some good stuff there. No, you don't think any of those are okay?
You know what? If it's cheap, it's okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's cheap.
Right.
Okay.
Don't
But the
spend
better
a
ones
ton.
are, you know,
I
so
just-
$300-$400.
So these are the top 10 headphones. Clearly, these are all just Beats, varieties of Beats
No.
Yeah,
headphones.
just
right?
beats, right?
they're beatless.
Nice.
There is,
And they have a little thing in it that vibrates that makes it
awesome.
but no
I
beats.
did notice, though, I don't want to jump on your gun or anything, but
No,
I did
of course
notice
not.
one of these earphones is called the Focal Sphere in-ear headphones.
Yes, well, I admit I was
It's a
Branding?
conflict.
I was influenced.
branding.
by
It's a
that.
conflict.
Yeah, it's a conflict, yeah.
I'm just letting you know it's a conflict.
But it's spelled a
It
weird
is.
way.
Spelled with ear in it.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of headphones on here.
10.
And you have 10 headphones.
Yes, I'm not going to talk about it all.
But what is the one to really? Okay, so people don't want to spend really more than $100 usually on headphones. So someone comes up and
Their
say,
loss.
"That's their loss." Someone wants to come up and say, "Hey, I want what headphones do I get under $100? What's the one to get for all general music and podcast listening? If you had to choose one, and we'll get to some
Well,
of the
it's
others.
an in-ear. Is that okay?
Buds.
So it's FIO, FIIO, EX1,
That's it.
which is about $70.
$90.
That's
Well,
pretty good.
but you can buy it for $70.
So
It's the best under $100 headphone I've ever heard by far. It's real, and it's really comfortable.
mhm.
It's a phenomenal headphone.
Let's see. Because that's one of the issues that I have, and I don't think I would ever be able to use these, because the ones that you really jam in to get the
Oh,
bass,
That's what I have.
You
I
know,
love
I
that.
can't
I love
do those
it.
because my ear, like, I get a waxy
These-
feeling and they just fall
Yeah,
out.
I understand, but these you don't have to seal them.
Okay, that's
you,
good.
You put them in, but you don't have to cram them in.
I like these headphones that I use here. These Sound Sport. They're
Okay.
Bose, which I realize
Well,
is like a Shonda,
it's
but
evil.
I like the comfortable, the little hook thing
I
fits
thought you
at
said
the top of my ear. I like
Bose
it.
makes a good bud. Didn't you say
No,
that to me?
no, I didn't.
No?
No, they make good full size head. The noise canceling head, the best noise canceling.
Can I endorse the ones I'm wearing right now?
Do it.
Where are
Ultimate Ears 900s.
How do you feel about those?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
those
these-
are great. I
these-
didn't know you got those.
Yeah, I got
Oh,
these.
those are
Yeah, these are real nice.
Those are really, really good. But those are $400.
Not on your
Yeah,
list.
these are $400.
Exactly.
But
So the other thing I really like for people that break headphones, all COS headphones, I think KOSS,
Yeah.
come with a lifetime warranty.
Which is
You can
amazing.
step on them. You can put them in the
That's
washing
nice.
machine. You can, roll over them with your truck. Send them the broken parts to COS. They'll send you another head.
That's
which is
nice.
amazing. And then when you have to pay that $150 up front, well, it all becomes more worth it.
Right. So they had a lot of their headphones are very old school, but they had a model that came out I think this year called the Pro 4S,
Right.
which is $150.
Look more contemporary.
And they look more contemporary, and they sound better than most Cos headphones. I'm
Great.
a huge fan of their sound, but it is a really nice headphone for $150, and it will last you many, many, many years.
It'll technically last you forever.
I also like that you have on here a $15 headphone.
Yes, the mono price. The only thing that's weird about mono, they don't have model numbers for their headphones. It's just called the mono price hi-fi on-ear headphones.
Whatever. People can Google
But anyway,
it.
it's $15 plus $5 for shipping.
Okay,
So
important.
it's $20. But
What, is it on Prime? I could just not pay shipping.
No,
I
it's-
know. I think you got to buy it from
Yeah,
mono
monoprice is monoprice,
Gotta
right?
go direct.
Yeah, you got to go direct.
So you can't get around that $15. But anyway, it's a wonderful sounding headphone for that kind of money.
How do you think they're able to sell these headphones for $15 and cut a profit
That's a good
while
question.
other people are
They
selling
have
them for
12-year-old Chinese girls chained to workstations, and they work 18 hours a day.
Well, that's an
the
answer.
real answer.
That's an
No
answer.
one else is doing that?
Well, they are a little leaner to their employees.
Component wise though, like, are they essentially using similar components to most
It's
other?
a very plasticky feeling thing. It's not.
But I
it's
mean,
not,
the internals.
$15
it's not
bucks.
built.
The like internals of the headphones, like, are they essentially using pretty comparable things? to
Yeah,
other
I mean, the
people?
main thing in the headphone is the driver that makes the sound, and it's
Okay.
a reasonably good driver for that
Sure.
kind of money. So it sounds good.
It
I really think that a lot of cheap stuff, no one even tries to make something sound good for
Yeah.
cheap products. So when companies actually make an effort and
Are you giving
have
this a
fairly
little bit
talented-
of credit because it's so cheap? Like, would you, if you listen to this in a range, and in fact,
I
would
would
it
say
be
it's,
very
it's,
low?
it's up to the price. Its sound quality is more or less equivalent to a $50 or $60.
Okay, that's
So
pretty
it's
impressive.
exceptionally good
That's
for
a
the
jump.
money. It's really, really, really
My
nice.
Casio watch is $9, and I love it.
It's kind of surprising.
So there you go.
There you
Cheap
go.
stuff.
There you go. But see, Casio watches are just stamped out by machines. There's no humans that
Exactly.
make them. But things like this actually are made by people.
Hmm.
So they do need to chain people to their desks to
Yeah.
work really long hours.
But we joke about that. But what is it like? How are they doing it?
The price?
Do you think
They
they're just
work on smaller margins, I guess, and they're selling direct, so they don't have
That helps.
other
Middleman.
people who are sharing their profit.
You don't
with
see
them.
ads for monoprice stuff.
And you don't
It's
see it.
true,
And
but
their cables are great. That's how they're
They make-
basically known as their.
They make great cables.
They make
man.
great cables.
Like, they don't break?
Yeah, just reliable stuff.
Yeah, and they're super cheap.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, now you can Amazon Basics is like the new
Yeah.
Monoprice, where like they're able, they're following a similar thing
Yeah.
where like they're making
Yeah,
their own stuff.
Monoprice sees what's happening. They make theirs.
Yeah, so it's for the longest time I was always like, no, put that down at the Best Buy. Put that down. I'm not gonna let you spend $50
Right.
on a 3-foot
For an
HDMI
HDMI
cable.
cable. Right. I
Okay,
got
you're gonna go on Monoprice. You're gonna spend $4.13
Right.
and have it in 3 days.
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy. Times
Now-
are changing.
Once we go from headphones, I put this in lists every year, is earplugs. So
Really?
Etymotic, ETYMOTIC.
Okay.
They have this plug that you can buy on Amazon called the ETY plugs. They're like $13.
These are just like blocking all sound plugs. Is what
Well, here's the good thing, is that unlike most earplugs that make everything sound kind of dead and
Right.
muffled, this lets you hear a wider range of frequencies. So you don't have to pull them out to hear music.
Are these
It
then
just-
the ER20s?
Yeah,
Interesting.
ER20s.
So this I'm glad you brought this up because, man, I was at a bachelor party like 2 months ago, and I knew we were going to a stupid dance club,
Ugh.
and I was like, shit, I don't want to go to that. And I brought earplugs because I
Very
know
smart.
Uh-huh.
where it's like, and I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
And I have these V-Moda earplugs
Yeah,
that I like, that I wear to concerts too a lot,
uh-huh.
and you can hear the music, and
Uh-huh.
it sounds better almost.
Right. Yeah, it does.
And people are like, "Oh, look at this loser."
Old
Right.
man.
I'm like, "Oh no, it's cool. I'll hear my kid talk to me,
Right.
and you'll just hear like static
Right.
and like Charlie Brown teacher stuff is what you're gonna hear." But yeah, this is a very important, and I can't stress enough how
Drop for $13.
13
Have them in your
bucks.
pocket
Oh,
whenever it's
They don't
really-
get gross.
You can wash them.
yeah, watch
The
it.
tips actually come off.
Oh, they come off.
You can
Nice.
wash them.
Okay.
No, they're really good. They're really good because they do block enough sound and they don't make things sound bad.
and they
Which
let
a lot of
in.
your plugs do.
Yeah.
So,
And like, yeah, okay. I'm not at the point yet, but next hockey season, I'll
Mhm.
probably take Dylan to a game.
mhm.
Okay.
What do you recommend I do for him Do I get those over the head?
Yeah, because I don't
earphones?
think they make earplugs for very
Yeah, you
small
can't
children.
you can't.
Yeah, you
stick-
should.
Yeah,
You
of course.
definitely
Oh, of
should.
course,
You mean
without a
like to a
doubt.
devil?
really loud.
Oh, I know for sure. Like it's not even an option. But you got to use like the gun range headphones.
Yeah.
You
or
mean like to
something.
a Devil's game?
Yeah,
Earphones, really?
No,
Like
yeah.
yeah, to
Earplugs?
protect his ears.
I
Yeah.
never had that growing up.
We didn't.
Well, you didn't, but
Did I go deaf?
You would hear
Was
better.
damage created?
You would hear better if you'd had.
Man,
Yeah.
child abuse.
It's a thing. Like it gets super loud in those.
And the thing
arenas.
is, that it's loud and it's sustained loud
Yeah,
for
that's
long
the
periods
worst.
of time. If it was a minute or two, it's not a big deal. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I just heard about an audiologist who went to sporting events, and
It
it
was
was
just
just unbelievably
It was like
loud.
115 decibels.
louder
the whole time.
than rock concerts. Loud.
Yeah,
like
which is-
130
I can imagine
dB.
a baseball game's not too bad because it's open air.
It's open air,
Right.
but it's still loud.
He
Any
measured.
enclosed.
He went to a football thing.
Yeah.
game.
And they were like cheer, like I guess they had a thing to get the crowd to be louder.
Sure.
Right.
And he had peaks of 145 dB.
That is
It seems like a lot.
shocking.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's really, really, really dangerous.
Yeah.
Because anything over 100 dB, it's over X amount of time.
Right.
That's
Sure.
where it matters. So at 100 dB, according to the government, anything more than 10 minutes at 100 dB
Damage.
is potentially is dangerous.
Wow.
Yeah,
and that's 10 minutes. So if you're at a sporting event for 2 or 3 hours,
Imagine
and it's
what-
averaging 110 or something, that's
For-
really bad.
Imagine what Noriega had to go through, blasting all that pop music, try to get him out of his thing. That probably did a lot of damage to his hearing.
You could sue.
Well, it's amazing. So it's amazing that like iPods or iPhones or your phone can even allow you to play something above 100 decibels.
Yeah, that reminds me. So here's what I recommend people do. So in a quiet room, you play music at a fairly loud level,
Yeah.
right? And then if you have a way of seeing how, like with a number or something, how loud it is.
Yeah.
Then when you're in a noisy environment on a train or a subway or something, play it at that level, and it won't seem that loud,
Right.
Because
Sounds
there's so
quiet.
much more noise around.
Right.
you.
Sure.
But then you will have like set a sort of a limit of how loud you would really want to listen to, because
Interesting.
when you're in a noisy place, you don't realize how loud it is. Or you
'Cause
could
you're
do it
trying
in
to
reverse.
overcompensate, yeah.
You could play it comfortably loud in a noisy place and write down what the number was of how loud it was, and then play that in a quiet room, and you'll be amazed
Yeah.
how loud you were listening.
I think I'll be better off just being ignorant of that. Just
No,
not
you
wanting to
no,
know
you
that
wouldn't
information.
be.
Well,
no,
because
you're not
then I
better
could,
off.
but
You-
it'll get to that point where I just won't be able to listen to anything in a loud place because it's too loud.
Okay.
That's a terrible philosophy. What are you talking about?
I'm saying if the only way I could hear the thing that I was trying to listen to is by cranking up the volume to listen to it, like on the subway, let's say,
Right.
and I can't, because I set that limit
Yeah,
for
read
myself.
a book.
I have to read a book.
What's the best way
book.
to measure
Sorry.
decibels?
A tablet. Sorry.
What's the best way to like measure decibels? Is there a way to do it without buying a
Is
fancy
there like an
thing?
abacus
It's
situation?
on your phone. There's
There's an app you
there's
can
Yeah,
many
that's probably
apps.
an
Yeah.
but are
Is
they
that
accurate?
precise?
Accurate enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure Ty can tell you which is the better one.
All right.
Since I don't have a smartphone, I can't tell you.
Okay. Yeah. That I would.
But I did a thing about that a couple of years ago about noisy restaurants in New York.
Yeah.
About how loud they
People
are.
must have
and it
hated
was
that.
really pretty
What was
scary.
the loudest restaurant?
105 dB.
What was it?
Where?
Yeah.
I don't remember where it was.
Just a normal restaurant,
Yeah,
not
it's
like a
like
specialty
lunch
novelty
thing.
place.
Everybody's talking really loud.
Yeah, it wasn't
105.
Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, no. It was like a small restaurant, not like a big giant place.
I remember when I was younger, I was in 6th grade.
That
and
was
I
a
went,
long time ago.
Yeah, I was in 6th grade, and I went to one of my first big concerts at the Garden.
Uh-huh.
And I
And
remember
who was it? Who did you
it was
see?
Green Day.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That was your first concert? Was Green Day? Wow.
No, my first concert was before that. I saw like
Raffi.
local bands. What's up?
Raffi.
Raffi? No, it was
No.
like a ska band or something. And I remember.
Wait. Your first concert was a ska band?
I think so.
That's
Man.
pretty good. That's very hip.
Mine
Oh,
was
I've been
Billy
going to
Joel.
I've been going to shows since I was like 12.
You're very cultured.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I remember being in 6th. Oh no, this is 7th grade. I remember being in 7th grade, going to the Garden, seeing it was like Weezer and Green. It was like a big,
Great show.
Hole was there.
Wow.
Remember Hole?
Yeah.
And I remember there was at one point the music was so loud I could hear my ears, like I could hear the static
Yeah, that's bad.
in your ears. You ever have
Yeah,
that where
well,
you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
well, I am time traveling right now.
Right.
It is so loud. And ever since then, I remember being like, there's no way that was good. Let's
Yeah.
never do that again. You know,
Wow.
and I've always I do
smart
have
work.
remarkably good hearing at my age.
Yeah, you're telling me.
But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. You got to protect those ears.
You do.
Everyone worries about everything else on their body, their teeth, their vision, their everything else.
$13.
Guess what?
Well,
Get a
because
set of
ears
those.
are gradual. Like, you don't see, like,
No,
drastic
you can't
changes
see.
until you're effed.
Right. Yeah.
Well, or you have tinnitus.
Yes.
right. Which I think my mother-in-law has pretty bad.
What?
I got your joke. Come on.
It was a hearing joke.
That was a dad
Yeah,
joke.
it was.
That was a dad joke right there. I'm the dad in the room.
No, that's a scary thing, tinnitus. And, you can have what's called a temporary threshold shift. So you're at a really loud concert. The next day, things sound kind of weird.
Yeah.
You've actually lost a lot of hearing, but it's temporary and it will come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they've done things where they've tested people before they go to a concert and then the next day, not
And
even after, the next day. And it can be really significant.
Wow.
loss.
That's scary. What's the oddest thing you've learned over your decades and decades of being obsessed with, audio? What is the weirdest thing you've learned about the human hearing condition? Like, what is something you've been like, did you know that if you stand on one foot,
I don't have it ready.
you can
answer
hear
for
the
that.
moon rise?
I'm sorry.
Do we
Yeah,
hear,
nothing like that?
Speechless.
when I listen to Jeff and you listen to Jeff, are we hearing the same thing?
Do we see the same color?
That is a trippy
I don't
ass-
see the same color.
No, you don't.
You don't because you're
No,
colorblind.
no, you don't.
Right.
We don't hear exactly the same thing because we have variations in our hearing.
But is it just a volume question, or is there like
tonally,
pitch difference?
it's tonally different.
Tonally different.
Yeah, it is slightly tonally different.
Weird.
I was always blown away as to like how you hear your own voice when you speak.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
'cause
when you
it's
hear
bone
it record,
conduction.
Right.
Yeah.
It's your brain is.
It's just a different thing.
yeah.
But recording so many podcasts and I've heard myself so many times, I just know what I, and that
Doesn't
kind
sound
of
weird
the
to you
whole
anymore.
I sound like Sam Elliott normally, right?
thing. Yes.
Pretty much like Sam.
No, Michael Caine.
Okay, Michael Caine. Yeah, I know it. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, that's it.
Totally.
Oh man. Well, all right, Steve, we did it.
Thank you,
Can I
Steve.
just mention one more thing?
No,
Like
No.
one
Shut it
no,
down.
30
Shut it
seconds.
down.
no, you're
Okay.
done.
I can't.
Let
Of
him in.
course you can.
We're very generous.
The speaker of the year, one of them.
Who is he?
Barack Obama.
Or her?
Dad joke. Well done.
I had to match your dad joke.
You did.
So there's this company called ELAC, ELAC, America, and a rock star of speaker designers designed this line of speakers. It starts at $230 a pair for the debut B6.
This says
B5.
Germany. What are you talking about?
No, ELAC America.
Right.
Elec.
But they're from Germany.
It's a German company. They now have a U.S. division.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like flaunting the whole American aspect of it. I was like, well, no, Steve, they're German.
Well, it's an American company that designed this.
Okay.
piece. And it's called the Debut B5. It's $230 a pair, and it's just scary good. We've reviewed them on CNET, and B5, B6, F5, a whole bunch of them. And they're just so much better than anything else that's ever been created for that kind of price.
Crazy.
And how much?
$230 for the B5.
How big
For the
is this
pair?
thing?
Is that a pair?
Okay, so it's about 2.5 feet tall, give or take. 2 feet tall.
I'm sorry. It's
No,
about
a foot
yeah,
tall.
A foot tall.
They can't
12.75.
see my hands.
No, they
Well,
can't see.
Space.
No, it's about 15 inches tall. It
No,
probably
the
tells you how
B5,
tall
it says 12.75 inches tall.
There you go.
Okay.
7.87 wide if you're
Because
measuring
that's
at
the
home.
thing. So like my
Is that too big?
Well, no, I was going to say my fiance's dad has speakers in his home, and he constantly offers them to us. The speakers, no joke, are like 6 of me each one.
I've seen those. They're
So
stupid.
like,
How generous.
I mean, it is, but I've got
It's a
no
nice.
place.
It's a nice offer.
It is very nice, but I've got no place to put them.
got
So
no
these
place.
are at least they're
That's
like
why
human
he's just
sized.
doing that because he knows you're not going to take it.
So
Exactly.
the B5s are $230 a pair.
Yes. B6 is $280.
That seems like
pair.
a pretty good deal.
They're
So you
just-
get. So what do? You buy.
you buy an amplifier. And you
I
need
know how that
wires.
works. But how does this work? Do you buy 2 pairs? For
stereo, you buy
surround?
one
I know,
pair.
but for surround, I want surround.
Oh, you'd buy 2 pair, and they have a center channel.
and they have a center channel. Okay,
and they have a sub.
and they have a
3
sub.
subs actually.
When I move,
Yes.
Well, that's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
No one shit themselves just yet. But
Yeah. Okay.
when I move to suburbia, which is probably in my next 5 years,
I'm so
I'm gonna need you to do all this for me.
All right. Well, I'm around.
Yeah.
If I'm still here.
How dare you? How dare you? I'm more worried about ELAC being here than
Okay,
you.
all right, okay.
All right, that's very good advice. I'll put that in the show notes. People look. I always get asked that too. My buddy
Speakers.
Bobby looking for speakers.
Yeah.
They're just extravagant, just amazing.
All right, fantastic.
He really topped himself because he's designed other inexpensive speakers that are really.
I don't want to know what really, really good speakers sound like.
No.
Because I want to be ignorant. I want to be like audio ignorant. You know what I mean?
Well, you got a lot of company.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Most people are.
It's easy living.
Oh
Most
my
people
God, that is the
listen
one
to
thing people just completely just don't care about, and that
Right.
must drive. That's what wakes you up in the middle of the night in cold sweat.
And I scream.
Is the fact that we have these people listening to music straight from their cell phone speaker
Right, yeah.
and just stuff like that.
Right. Even musicians, that really blows my mind. That musicians listen to their own music on the speakers
To
in
see
their
if it
phone.
sounds good.
No,
Well,
that's how
but
they
that's-
listen for
Well,
pleasure.
that's how
I'm
they're-
doing, play.
That's how their audience is going to hear it, though.
Exactly.
You know,
It's not a bad idea.
it is that. I mean,
It's so easy.
I guess you should try it out, but not have that be.
I had
the
a mixing
master.
engineer tell me that when he's doing mixes and he sends them to the band, he just streams it to them and they can just listen on their phone.
Oh,
The agony of going someplace to actually listen.
yeah.
That's too much work.
Or sending a file. You
Yeah,
can't
send
just
them a file. No, he streams it to them. He realizes they don't actually
They don't
listen
care.
when he sends them files.
That's
They
probably
don't- they
good.
don't
It
listen,
makes
so they-
less work for him.
Yeah,
He's like-
exactly.
They're like, yeah, it sounds great.
Right, sounds great. Right.
Oh my God, we're in trouble.
Dark days.
So sad. Remember Band Name Maker? I was thinking about that the other day.
Yeah.
We did this bit like bands are too lazy to come up with a name of their own.
They just need a generator.
Yeah. Remember we had like Scrotum something.
Yeah.
Scrotum something right there.
There
is
is
a good band
really
name.
good. I got hip to it earlier this week. A metal band generator name, which is pretty great.
Oh, I gotta look for that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's hours of fun.
Yeah. Again, Steve, thanks so much. Very
Thank you,
happy
Steve.
holiday
Oh, man,
season
this is
to
Happy
you,
holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.
and a happy New Year to you.
Yeah, and happy Hanukkah.
Yes. Please thank your
Light those
wife
candles.
for the cookies.
Oh my.
Thank you
They
so
do
much.
look lovely.
They look great.
We should have-
So here's the deal. Today is December 18th. Next week, Christmas, we will
Yes.
have a show. That will be the TV
Okay,
episode.
TV episode.
And then on January 1st, we are going to be doing a show which you will
yeah.
find out about, which we recorded already.
Is it a secret?
Sure. Keep it a secret. You
Okay,
got to
fine.
tune in to find out.
It's not that thrilling.
It's not that thrilling, but it's fun. And then the 8th, Shannon Cook. We
Mm-hmm.
will run an episode with Shannon Cook about summarizing the music of 2015.
Indeed.
And then I believe we are back in the office on January
Live.
15th. But don't worry, there's a show every Friday up until then.
Oh, man.
It's
Gonna
like
rest
you won't
easy.
even know that we're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny that we're putting out a show on Christmas then New Year's, but that's fine. We're a once a week outfit.
Right.
We can get away with that.
Yep.
All
Amen.
right? Everyone got that?
Good stuff.
Everyone following along at home?
Yeah, I am.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to Steve Guttenberg. Go read the Audiophiliac on CNET and then follow him on Twitter, Audiophiliac Man.
Man.
Man. All right, that'll do it for us. Until next time, I'm Jeff Bakalar.
I'm Russ Frushtick.
I'm Steve Guttenberg.
This has been the 404 Show, high tech, low brow. See you next time. This episode of the 404 Show was brought to you by Canary. Canary is a complete home security system in a single device. When Canary detects something out of the ordinary, it sends intelligent notifications with HD video right to your smartphone. Plus, Canary puts you in control during an emergency. Through their app, you can watch live footage, sound a built-in siren, or connect with police near your home. Start protecting your home today with Canary for just $1.99. Go to meetcanary.com, use the promo code 404SHOW, and get free overnight shipping. Big thanks to Canary for sponsoring the show.